Hi and welcome to One Life Matters, the podcast that reminds you that your life is worth living with purpose, joy and authenticity. I'm Trish, a counsellor and life coach, and I'll be sharing down-to-earth conversations, insights and tools to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. Whether you're healing from the past, finding your confidence, or simply wanting to feel more at peace with yourself, this is your space. Because you only get one life and it truly matters. Just before we get into this episode, I just want to mention that this podcast is for general information, insight and reflection only. It's not a substitute for personal therapy, counselling or medical advice. So I wanted to make the first episode about the nervous system, as it's so responsible for virtually everything that makes you, you. From your impulse reactions to your deepest fears, often operating completely under the surface of our awareness. So the nervous system, now before you start thinking this is going to be really sciencey, don't worry, I promise it won't be. It's more about why we do the things we do, especially the things we know aren't great for us, but we keep doing them anyway. And it feels too difficult or impossible to change, despite desperately wanting to. I'm going to give you a few examples. So we've all been there, right? And that feeling of being totally stuck in a situation you know logically is wrong. Maybe it's a bad job or like in a toxic relationship. You're constantly having this internal argument. I know this is bad and I'm leaving. I swear I'm leaving tomorrow. But when the time comes, that surge of pain and panic just paralyses you. You end up asking yourself that devastating question. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep letting this happen? It's a common feeling, and the answer, as we're about to find out, isn't about willpower and it isn't about strength. It's all about wiring. Your nervous system has been trained, possibly from childhood, to see the chaos as home. It confuses the familiar storm with a safe harbour, even when that storm is actually unsafe and quite possibly destroying you. And what about comfort eating? You've had one of those days, you're exhausted, maybe a bit low or stressed, and you're not even hungry, but you find yourself rooting around the kitchen looking for something, anything to take the edge off. You tell yourself you'll just have one biscuit, but before you know it, you're deep into a full-on snack spiral. And afterwards, the emotional hangover, the guilt, the shame, the feeling of being greedy and regretful. It feels like a total lack of control and we blame ourselves. But again, what's going on here isn't just about lack of willpower or greed. It's your nervous system doing what it's been trained to do. Over time, it's learned that food, especially sugary or carby stuff, gives a quick dopamine boost and helps you feel safe and soothed, even if just for a moment. It's like a shortcut your brain takes when it's trying to regulate itself. You know the drill. You make the big promise, I'm getting fit. You've got the gym bag packed, you've got all the gear. Yep, I'm going to smash it. And for a little while, a few days, weeks maybe, you're crushing it. But then the alarm clock goes off at 6 a.m. and suddenly you come up with a million excuses why today is not the day. You hit snooze and make that classic deal with yourself. If I just miss today, I'll go every day for the next 3 months, starting tomorrow. Well, guess what? It's your nervous system stepping in to be the ultimate hotbod cockstopper. It's wired to protect you, and new habits feel like a big risk. So while you're full of good intentions and trying to push yourself, your nervous system is putting on the brakes, screaming, "Oi, what the hell? I like the old comfy way of doing things, so step away from that life-threatening treadmill." Oh, and the one I hear time and time again, avoiding conflict and people-pleasing. You say yes when you want to say no, then you stew about it for the rest of the day. Does that sound familiar? Well, it does to me. So if you grew up learning that your needs came second, or that keeping the peace meant keeping you safe, your nervous system will still run that old program, even if it's costing you. An analogy I use time and time again with my clients is, it's like setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. But that's an episode for another time. So our nervous system is basically our body's personal alarm and sat-nav system in one. It's been designed to keep us what it thinks is safe. Not necessarily happy, not fulfilled, just safe. You know, its primary purpose is to ensure our survival, and from its very old, ancient primal perspective, familiarity equals safety. Think about it. In the wild, anything new or unknown could potentially be a threat. So over millions of years of evolution, our nervous system developed an incredible ability, or kind of directory, that can identify patterns so it can remember what's safe and to stick with it. And this whole system, it didn't just magically appear when you turned 18. It started forming the moment you were born. Actually, probably even before that. Your earliest experiences, especially your emotional ones, started to shape your nervous system from day dot. But here's the thing to remember. The nervous system doesn't always recognise safe the way you or I would describe it. It just recognises familiar. And at its core, your nervous system is your body's communication network. It's constantly scanning your environment for safety or threat, even when you're not aware of it. Think of it like a backstage manager in a theatre production, constantly making quick decisions. Are we safe? Are we okay? Should we fight, flight, freeze or fawn, or maybe take a nap? So here's a little light bulb moment. The nervous system isn't wired for what's good for us. It's wired for what's familiar, because it sees familiarity as safety. So if chaos, emotional distance, or walking on eggshells were your normal growing up, your nervous system might actually relax around those dynamics as an adult, even if they're painful and even if they're hurting you. And why is this? Because your body goes, oh, hey, I know this feels normal, and we've survived this before. It's why we can get stuck in loops. Same kind of partner, same kind of conflict, same internal criticism. Because even if we consciously want change, our subconscious wants familiarity. And this is where it gets a bit tricky, because if what was familiar to you growing up wasn't calm or secure, if it was inconsistent, emotionally distant, a bit chaotic or even frightening, then your nervous system says, right then, this must be our normal. So now as an adult, you might find yourself being drawn to people or situations that feel weirdly comfortable, even though your rational brain is screaming, oh no, not this again. You're not weak, you're not lazy, or whatever other shitty thing you tell yourself. That's just your nervous system doing its best to lead you back to what it knows. Your brain has just learned a particular route, and it'll keep taking that same route even if it leads to the same dead end every time. And why? Because it's trying to make sense of the world. It seeks out what matches its early experiences to feel safe. And the brain, as brilliant as it is, can also be a bit of a one-trick pony. If it's seen something enough times, it goes, that'll do, and locks it in. And the thing is, this isn't even a conscious decision. It's an automatic, often subconscious protective response. You might experience this as anxiety, resistance, self-doubt, or a strong urge to revert back to old ways. Again, it's not you being weak or lazy. It's your nervous system doing its job, trying to keep you safe by clinging tightly to the familiar. So, if you were regularly met with comfort, attunement, and someone who helped you calm down and regulate when you were distressed, your system likely learned that the world is mostly safe and people can be trusted. But if that wasn't the case, if there was chaos, neglect, tension, or unpredictability, your system might have learned that it has to stay on high alert. You see, the brain prefers the easiest solution to everything. Our brains are incredible energy savers. They love efficiency. And if there's an established neural pathway for a certain thought, emotion, or behaviour, even a detrimental one, the brain will always opt for that well-trodden path over creating a brand new healthy one. It takes less energy. It's the mental equivalent of taking the motorway instead of forging a new trail through dense forest. This all sounds a bit depressing really, but before you put yourself down as a lost cause, here's the good bit. You can change it. Neuroscience shows us that repetition is key. When we repeat something, whether it's a thought, a behaviour or a response, we strengthen that neural pathway. It's like walking through a field. The more times you walk the same route, the clearer the path becomes. It might not feel easy and it definitely doesn't happen overnight, but the brain can be retrained. Through repetition, consistency and persistency, we can build new pathways. We can teach our nervous system that safety doesn't have to come with chaos, that calm doesn't mean boring or threatening, and that we're allowed to feel secure. And at first, those behaviours, like setting boundaries and saying no or asking for what you need, they'll feel clunky and even wrong, but if you stick with it, your brain will slowly get the message. This is the new normal and I like it. It's like breaking in new shoes. A bit awkward at first, maybe a blister or two, but eventually they fit just right. So every time you pause before reacting, every time you soothe instead of spiralling, and every time you choose calm over chaos, you're building a new pathway. And your nervous system starts to go, maybe this is safe too. And just try to remember, you are not your patterns. There's stuff going on under your radar or awareness, a system that hasn't been updated in a while. But like I said, the good news is that change is absolutely possible. So how exactly do we update our system and rewire our brain? Well, I'm no neuroscientist, but I know a thing or two about positive, healthy change. So here's a few things to consider. Consistency over intensity. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight, but small, repeatable and healthy actions over time will create really strong rewiring. Think about your safety. How safe do you feel in your environment? Your nervous system needs to feel safe to take in new experiences. If your environment or relationships feel threatening, your brain will prioritise protection, not growth. Support. Being seen and supported, whether by a therapist, a coach, a group or trusted friend, literally helps your brain integrate new experiences. And curiosity. When we ask, I wonder why I reacted that way, instead of beating ourselves up, we open the door to change. Shame shuts us down while curiosity invites growth. And what gets in the way? Well, all or nothing thinking. That voice that says, you missed a day, so you've completely failed. No, setbacks are part of the rewiring. Be really careful and aware of how you're talking to yourself. But the power of what we tell ourselves is a whole other podcast, hopefully coming soon. Unrealistic timelines. If it took decades to build those patterns, give yourself permission for it to take more than a few weeks to shift them. Isolation. We're wired to heal in connection. Trying to do it all alone is just harder. So, how long does it take to change? Well, that's the golden question, and it's one that I get asked time and time again by my clients. First of all, let's bust a myth. That old saying that it takes 21 days to change a habit? It's a lovely idea, but it's not exactly true. That came from a 1950s plastic surgeon who noticed it took about 21 days for patients to get used to their new faces. It's not quite the same as unlearning years of people-pleasing or chronic anxiety. So if you're not fixed after 3 weeks, that's not failure, that's biology. They say on average it takes anywhere from 2 to 8 months, that's 66 days to 254, give or take, for a new behaviour or response to become more automatic. That might sound disheartening and a long time, but here's the good news. Every single repetition, every small choice in the direction of safety, calm, or self-compassion is a vote for change. It does add up, and your nervous system is always listening. So if you're feeling stuck or tired or wondering, why am I not there yet? Please know this, you're not broken. You're just in progress, and you're not failing. You're just rewiring. And your nervous system, it's working hard to keep you safe, even as it learns something new. So that's today's little journey into your nervous system and inner wiring. I hope it's given you something to reflect on and maybe soften some self-judgment and reminded you that change is real, even when it's slow, even when it's invisible at first. And if you're working on change right now, remember, it's not just a mindset thing, it's a nervous system thing. So be patient, go gentle, and take care of that brilliant, protective, sometimes overactive system of yours. Thank you for joining me on One Life Matters. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love you to subscribe and maybe share it with someone who might need it too. And remember, you only get one life, so make it one that truly matters. Until next time, take care of yourself.